Well, hello friends, Jeff here from Learn Portrait Drawing, and in today's video we are going to see how I drew this beautiful girl right here. Now before I continue, I just want to say, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Be sure you turn on the little bell notification and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out, and it also lets YouTube know that you like watching these kinds of videos. Now, with that being said, you're going to see how I drew this from start to finish. I walk you through what I'm thinking, the choices I'm making, everything that can help you out as an artist. So whether you're already an artist, or if you want to just learn how to draw, or even if you just like watching this to relax and, you know, just pass the time, I think this video is going to help you out a lot. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment below. And with that being said, let's watch how I drew this portrait. Well, hello everybody, welcome back once again, and in today's video we are going to try and draw this girl. And as usual, just to let you know that I am a self-taught artist, so I'm learning as I go along. So the whole purpose of these videos is to help those of you who might be learning along with me, who want to, you know, see the video, see the thumbnail of what I drew and want to know how it was done. You're going to see me make mistakes, you're going to see me walk through the process in my head, how I tackle these problems. So I think something like this is really useful, not only for myself to watch back and review, but like I said, for those that, you know, are learning and want to see how someone that, you know, isn't a trained artist usually draws something like this. So as usual, I'm just going to start out with a piece of soft charcoal, and this stage of the drawing is going to be really fast and really loose, and the whole point of that is to not put a lot of pressure on myself. Okay, so I'm not trying to do anything that's gonna make me feel like I have to get it right the very first time. So I'm trying to get my left brain out of the picture. Okay, I'm just trying to use my right brain and sketch kind of where I think things might go. So these lines are going to be incorrect. You know, oftentimes I review my videos during this stage and I go, oh wow, I can't believe I didn't see right there how off I was. But that's okay. If you have any questions or anything about my drawing process or anything like that, please leave me a comment below. I do answer all my comments. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just using this soft charcoal, which I can easily erase with my finger, and I am just trying to lay out how I think the picture is going to fall on the paper. So as you see, I'm just trying to use, like I said, trying to focus on more of my right brain side, the creative side, not the analytical side. At this stage, I'm trying to not analyze logically what I'm seeing. I'm just trying to let my hand sort of have a mind of its own and just lay down these strokes of the charcoal. And hopefully if we do that and try not to think about it, just do what comes naturally, what we feel, we'll get something that's relatively similar to the reference picture. If you've watched my last drawing, I thank you for that. I'll put a link to that somewhere up and above the video. It'll also be linked in the description if you'd like to check that out. So as you can see, what we're doing here is there's no details. I'm just basically laying out a map of groundwork of how I think the picture is going to lay. And so what we're doing is we're trying to gauge the composition of how it's going to look on the paper. So I'm pretty happy with this composition. I think the tilt of the head looks relatively correct. I'm going to say, you know, the chin's going to be somewhere in this area. Okay. And again, one of the things I'm trying to focus on in this drawing in particular is not thinking. It sounds funny, well, when you say it like that, but I'm trying not to think so much. And I'm just trying to sort of feel. Get my left brain out of it. Okay. So what I just did there is usually the face is divided into thirds. The chin to the bottom of the nose to the eyebrow ridge, and then the eyebrow ridge to the hairline. That's just sort of like the standard. And because she's looking pretty much straight on, I'm just going to say that that's about right. So if these are the eyebrow ridges, that means the eyes are going to be somewhere in this area. Okay, get my head out of it. Try not to think. So I'm going to just kind of put somewhere over here where the eyes may be. So the nose is going to be in this area and here, sort of the center. Maybe not quite at that angle. Again, I'm trying not to be so critical and think so much. I'm finding my brain's trying to think too much, and that's okay. At this stage, again, we're just putting some placeholders in. I want to lay down where I think the eyes are, or where they're going to be. Not necessarily what they look like at this stage, you know, because everything I'm drawing here is going to be erased with my finger. I'm just trying to put something so when I do erase it, that it has something that I can see on the paper. So I'm just trying to gauge if this is going to be in the correct spot. You know. So we'll see. And then the mouth is going to be somewhere in this area. I don't know. Something in there. My mouth might need to come down a little bit. I don't know. Something like there in the mouth. Chin's down in this area. Seems to have a very, not pointy chin, but a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, that would be pointy like that. I don't want it quite like that. Alright, stop thinking. Stop thinking, Jeff, and just draw. One of the things I've been toying the idea with is, I don't know if I should be talking so much while I'm trying to draw. I'm wondering if I should just draw a portrait without talking and then just dub over my voice afterwards. Let me know what your opinions are on that. Do you prefer watching me draw and talk in real time, or do you prefer a dubbed over real time narration? The only problem with that is sometimes when I watch it after the fact, I can't communicate exactly what my thought process was in that moment because I don't know what I'm thinking, you know. So I've seen this cast shadow here. You know, this side of the face is all in shadow. Alright, I don't know if that's going to be exactly correct or not. Obviously this doesn't look anything like the person, but I'm trying to look at like the tilt of the head. You know, the tilt of the head. I think we got the tilt right on that axis, and I think we got sort of the tilt of everything else. The mouth is probably going to be a little bit different. Okay, so obviously the hair is going to be all up in this area. This is all hair. So, trying to keep it loose. Now I'm going to just rub it in with my finger, kind of tone everything down. Eye. So see how soft that rubs out? That's what we want. We want to just create a blurry image. So that way our brains can maybe focus on the overall picture and not details. What I'm trying to do is like squint at the picture and squint at, you know, squint at the reference, look at this, go back and forth. You know, I think the overall shape is there. You know, I think it looks, I don't know, I think it looks symmetrical. Now I just want to start adding in the details. So I'm going to say the eye is going to come to about this area, kind of where I had it. Okay, so what we're doing is now we're slowly adding in details. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to concentrate on looking at the shapes inside the eye. Trying to be a little more mindful of each stroke that I do. Kind of glancing at the picture. Thinking about the direction, and then putting the pencil strokes in. Alright. Eye looks a little big, but that's okay, I think. Again, at this stage, you know, one of the mistakes, and I don't know if I'd call it a mistake, but tendencies is probably a better word. One of the tendencies as someone learning portrait art, or even art in general probably, is that, you know, to think that the artist knows exactly what he's doing at all times. At least I don't. I'm in a constant battle of laying down something on the paper and then analyzing it, or, you know, seeing how it feels. Does it look right? and then erasing it if I don't like it. And then there's usually a lot of erasing. But there's also, I'm constantly trying to observe, where does the eyebrow start? If you're looking at the picture and you go straight up from the corner of the eye up, the eyebrow looks like it goes a little more over, maybe over to about here. It's not going to be quite as dark, but that's all right. I'm not really pressing super hard. And then the shadow looks like it comes at this sort of angle here and then goes very softly but straight down to the nose area where that's going to be in shadow. This is going to be a little darker in here. Just going to put in a little bit of value for the eye. This is darker here. This is darker here. Okay, so I'm not sure yet how that shape's gonna end up being. Looks like the shadow kind of comes down and then it comes out this way. How far out does it come? Looks like it comes out somewhere about in here. This is all going to be shadow over here onto the side of the face. Still assuming that the side is over in this area. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is slowly add in these details. So I said the nose was probably going to be somewhere on this line in here. Now I'm looking at the wing of the nose, the nostril. I'm just going to say maybe it's in here. Usually the nostril lines up with about where the eye starts. So I'll just put that in there to kind of give me something to work with. And the ball of the nose. Down in here as the nostril comes, or the nostril comes back up, the wing of the nose on this side. I'll put it right in there. I'm usually always off on this right here, but I try and check the rough angle of the eye. I think that might be okay for now. We'll have to come back to that and see. Okay, so there's going to be this overall shadow, this cast shadow from the nose, which if we do this really well, it'll look nice because it'll give the nose a really good three-dimensional shape to it. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just slowly laying down the values. I'm not putting anything too hard on the paper because I know that most likely I'm going to have to do some erasing. Let's check the width of this eye that we already drew. And compare it with the other eye. Be a little bit longer maybe. Again, we'll see what happens because I usually do some erasing. Okay, let me get this bottom shape down. Kind of comes at this straightish angle. To about the halfway mark. Over here. Kind of loops around. A lot of this is just me trying to do my absolute best to observe the little details. Try not to think of it as an eyeball, but rather as just shapes. And I'm already feeling like the eye may be a different size. But again, this is all bound to change. Okay, she's got a very... You can see the entire pupil in her eye. Oh. Alright, so again, I'm trying to... You know, when I step back and I look at the overall picture, I kind of feel like a failure. So I'm just trying to look only at what I'm looking at. I'm only trying to look at this eyebrow. I'm not trying to look at how funny the eyes look yet. That's not my intent. And I'm just going back and forth a lot with the eyes. And we'll slowly make our adjustments as we go on with the drawing. You know, this part isn't so harsh right here. This eyelid. It actually kind of flows very smoothly up and over and just carries down below. Right. Okay. Again, the constant reminder is trying not to put too much in too fast, at least for me, my style. I'm just going a little bit at a time. You know, like here I am on the upper lip. I'm just trying to see maybe how far down does it go. Does this philtrum area look about right compared to the nose? I'd say that feels about right. I'm going to say the top of the lips are going to be in here. Lips are always a little tough for me, not gonna lie. So I kind of use these angles just to get an eyeball from like the side of the nostril down to the mouth. I just kind of see if that's about right. Same with the other side. Somewhere in this general area. So the mouth kind of smiles up and then kind of goes over to this area. The lip just kind of looks like it meets right, sort of right where it meets up right over there. This side of the lip looks like it kind of goes down and then just turns into it. Something like that. The bottom of the lips, she's got very full lower lips, so usually I just kind of put this little line right in here to indicate where they're going to be. I don't want to draw too much of a line, like a dark line, because then it really looks like makeup. I think I made a mistake on my last drawing. Well, one of the things I probably could have changed. So I made the lips really dark, which kind of gives it the impression that she's wearing, you know, a lot of lip makeup on. This side of the lips looks like it's in shadow, so I'm just gonna shade that. It's a little brighter here. It's a little dark on that side. All this looks like it's kind of got a shadow. And what's funny is you'll probably be watching this now, and I'll probably, after I'm, you know, reviewing the video and editing, I'll be seeing things about the stage going, oh my God, how are you blind? How do you not see this glaring mistake that you have? That, you know, when is he going to fix this thing? This thing is driving me crazy and he doesn't see it. Well, that's how a lot of the drawing is. A lot of times the drawing, you do it in stages because you're trying to hyper focus on such little tiny details. You're trying to observe these little tiny things that you don't notice a lot until later on in the drawing. And for me, that's kind of how drawing is. It's like it's done in stages. Okay. just look at my angles here. Trying to analyze overall certain things, you know, like, okay, well, look how much space is between this eye and here. Look how big of a space it is here. Is that how it is on the picture? Yeah, it looks like on the picture there's a bigger space here than there is here. So I'm trying to just do little tiny things in my head like that. Constantly asking myself these little questions, just to make sure it's correct. You know, there's going to be a shadow that kind of comes up, goes right to the edge of the eye, and then goes this direction towards the eyebrow. So I want to make sure I kind of like put that in here as a landmark. Because every landmark you put down is just more information for you to observe later. One piece of the puzzle that feeds off another piece. You know, like I'm trying to look at the angle of, if you look at the cheek right on this side of the nose, it's a little dark. So I'm not trying to put down a lot of darkness here, but I just want to indicate this part of the cheek, which is a little dark. Okay. So there's this here. Obviously the light's coming from this side. You know, so the forehead's going to be, eventually this is all going to be, this whole side of the face is the shadow side. Okay. So, how are we looking? Obviously I'm still trying to just gauge if the proportions are there. And it's important for me to remind everybody, at this stage, even I don't know. So even I don't know if this is correct at this stage. There's many artists out there who would know. Okay? There's many artists out there that could do this all in the very first try without even batting an eye. I am not that artist. And that's why I'm making this channel, because I think, or it's my sincere hope that what I'm doing is going to help many people out there who want to see somebody that struggles, wants to see what it could be like for most people who are doing something like this. Okay, let me back it out a little bit. Okay, so I'm doing a lot of observation right now. Trying to look at the size of the forehead. Trying to maybe look at other angles. Check the eye to maybe the corner of the mouth. I don't know, we'll find out if that's correct or not. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Alright, so how much time do we got? I got about 10 minutes or so. So let's, instead of me working a lot on what's left, let me just start blending in some of this charcoal. And that's the good thing about charcoal. It really blends very smoothly. And that's sort of the key to what we want, is we want smooth shadows. And all this, I'm sure I might even get even darker than what we're seeing. But for now, this is okay. This is just one of those things that helps smooth out the process. Looks like that shadow on the nose is pretty much comes right down the center as it comes up to the where the eyebrow is going to be, which is up in here. We might have to raise the eyebrow a little bit. Right. Just looking at the picture, back and forth. Again, this on the cheek we said was going to be a little darker in here. Of course, the bottom of the eye. Part of the lip I missed. Okay, so we got our little preliminary shading. We can probably start working a little bit more on details here. kind of just blending everything into the eyes so we can work on them, pulling out values and whatnot. All right. So see, we went from nothing to a very rough, blurry picture. We kind of added some details, and now we just blurred that all out again. So it's like we're constantly refining and going back and forth. And that's normal. All right. Let's see. I got about 5 minutes or so. So now I'm kind of at this stage. Oh my goodness! Can my phone please stop? At this stage, I'm fairly locked in with these proportions. I'm just sitting back and looking. I'm fairly locked in. I'm at this stage of my drawing. I'm saying that I feel that the nose is in the right spot. I feel that the angle of the face is correct. I feel like the eyes are about that size and maybe about that shape. But as I continue on here, now we start going back over again and refining, going back over for our constant passing over the drawing. We'll start really correcting things, really start to make things more realistic. So what I'm going to do is I want to go back now again to the eyes. And see if we can start adding the details and realism. So I'm going to take probably a quick little break here. We'll come back. We'll do the eyes. And proceed on down with the drawing. And go from there. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's zoom in a little bit here as we work more on the face. Oops. Okay, so the theme of this drawing, get our left brain mentality out of the picture. Don't think about it. I was watching something on YouTube yesterday, I think, and it was talking about how you shouldn't trust your brain. Your brain is constantly second guessing yourself. Don't worry about what your brain is saying and just go with what you feel. And so what I'm trying to do when I'm drawing is I'm trying to look at very small, or I'm trying to observe very small details. Very, very tiny details. Not looking at, try not to look at this whole eye. I'm actually just looking at like little sections inside of the eye. So you start seeing shapes and not actual, you know, you're not seeing the whole, you're seeing the smaller areas. So like if I look really, really, really closely, I'm noticing below the eye is very, very thin white area for the bottom of the eyelid. And I don't really have that in this part yet, so I'm just gonna try and put that in here. By just erasing a little bit like that, and see, we just added a lower plane to the eye. We just added that eyelid. That's something that a lot of people, myself included, don't always remember when drawing eyes. You draw like a line and then you realize that there's a plane, a bottom plane that we're missing. So the eyelid, or the eyelashes, are darker. So I'm just going to add in these eyelashes. So, telling myself just to look at little sections. Don't try and analyze. Don't say you're drawing an eye. Look within the eye. If I look closely, I can see little shadows inside of the eye. So if you see it, put it in there. Okay. So I could see on top of the eyelid, the light is hitting it. I kind of have it in there already, but it got covered a little bit with the eyelashes. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at there for right now. And just draw some indication of bottom eyelashes over here. And see, one of the things I'm looking at, if you look at the picture, it's darker right here in the eye, but it's lighter over here. So I'll try and look in this light shape, how it comes down and then it'll come up on the cheek. You know, it'll come up over here a little bit. and then kind of goes up this way. See how it kind of makes this sort of shape. So I kind of like, I'm looking at that kind of stuff too. Alright, so let's move over to the other eye. Where we're probably going to do the same sort of thing. What I need to do is take out First I need to pick up my pencil. I need to shape my eraser a little bit better. And then try and just take away some of the value here. For the eye. And then we can refine it. Let's see. Something like that, maybe. I could see on top of the eyelid, it's reflecting light. Do you see that? So make sure we erase that. Trying to look again. Looking below the eye, trying to see where that white line is for the bottom eyelid. So I'm going to try and add that in there very carefully. Just take my eraser and pinch it really flat. Okay. Put in the pupil. And then I'll try and get that highlight in there, sort of like how I got the other one on the other eye. Something like this, maybe. And let me sharpen my pencil a little bit. By the way, I have a sort of an expensive electric pencil sharpener, but I've been using this. One of these little cheap ones. Actually works pretty good. Okay. So adding some of the little bottom eyelashes are going to go in here. So I won't focus too much on this right now. But we'll leave it like that. Trying to be really delicate when it comes to the shading here. So right in here looks like it's lighter on this plane of the face. Obviously it gets darker as it comes up to the nose. Gets a little darker around the cheek area, but see, this is one of the things I'm learning myself as trying to analyze values. So look at how dark this is underneath the eye. And then look at where I have right here where the cheek is. The eye is definitely darker than the cheek, but right now it looks like it's about the same. So this has to come way down. It should not be like, I'm trying to think of it in terms of like strength. Like if this is on a 1 to 10 scale, if this right here is like a 7 in darkness, this has got to be at least like a 2.5. So I'm just going to lightly erase and knock it back down. So it'll still be seen, but it won't be quite as strong. Okay, and even that still might be a little too much, but we'll kind of tweak things as we go, as we address it. But I know the cheek in here looks like it's getting a highlight. So it's constantly one of the things, the little secrets of drawing, besides your observation, is to constantly be comparing your values. How dark is this to that? And pick 2 different points. You know, how dark is this to that? Well, this area right here, coming off the nose, is lighter. Okay, so I'm just going to lighten that up. Now let's work on the nose a little bit. This line here on the side is not a hard line like I have it, so I need to soften this, because this actually kind of, I see that the side of the nostril is kind of making this sort of shape. And the nostril itself, there's not a line there like I have it. It's actually like this, like catching a lot of light. So we're catching light there. We're catching light right in here. And that's the same intensity as the light right here. The nose gets a little lighter. You know, I'm just going to kind of erase a lot of this, and then I'll put the value back in. I'm trying to look where the shadow is. So the shadow, like, let me redo my eraser here. It looks like the shadow kind of, for just looking at shadow, it looks like it comes like this, has the ball of the nose, where it comes back up to here, right? Does like one of those numbers, but this isn't all the same value. It has to be brighter over here. So I'm going to kind of knock this back down a little bit and leave that highlight right in there. Just knock this back down where it's still darker along this, reaches here. We know it's darker on this nostril. Make sure we keep that there. Alright, so looking at the nose, looks like it has to, we might have to shape it a little bit here. Down a little bit, probably a little bit lower than I had it. And then comes back up. Okay. See, we're slowly, by just not looking so much at the nose, we're not trying to draw a nose. We're trying to just look, imagine I had, you know, like just a little tiny square. I'm just trying to look at that little square. Get my left brain out of it. Don't try and analyze what we're looking at, and just know, okay, it's making this shape. Let me just draw this shape and ignore the rest. And if we just focus on the little things, we'll end up, it'll just all work out and come together, and before you know it, you'll have a nose, or you'll have whatever you're drawing without even thinking about it. So, for example, if I look really closely at the picture, and knowing how the nose is, you know that this part of the nostril, this wing of the nostril, you know it's off the face. That means it's closer to the light. So if that this part has to be a little bit lighter than this part, because that part back there is further back. So I'm just going to slowly lighten the wing of the nose. Okay. But this can't be the same as this side, because this side is facing the light. So I'm going to kind of slowly blend it back down a little bit. Okay. But now see, that comes forward. And because it comes forward, it gives it more of a three-dimensional look to it. Now if I look really closely under the nose, right in here is the bottom part of the nose that comes up and connects. Okay? But it's not going to be that bright, so I'll knock it back down. This isn't that bright right here either. This has to get knocked down. In fact, this is a little darker here. So let me knock this back down, just ever so slightly. See, it's all about making little tiny adjustments. The shadow comes off this way. But it looks like it's pretty soft. It's a soft edge. See, as it comes out over here, you just kind of lose that shadow as it meets up with this side over here, this side plane of the face. And all this is soft. It still creates this highlight right here that we left. But we do know this is the side plane of the face over here. Now I'm trying to see this light part right here. I'm trying to look at the picture and keep that in there. Keep that shape in there. Again, just think of it like a shape. It has this dark, light, dark. Dark, light, dark. That comes out to about the same area. And I'm trying to look big and then go into small. So that light goes this way. It comes down a little bit right in here. Has another little space in here. Now it's not that light, but I'm just adding the details in there, so because I can always then go back in and slowly knock it back down a little bit. We don't want it as bright as like the tip of the nose, because it's not on the same plane. It's not the same intensity. But see, even doing this, knocking it back down, you can still see it. Now even looking at this, again, we're just trying to focus from big to small. Right now, this whole section right here kind of looks almost the same darkness, right? But in the picture, it's lighter. It goes from light to dark. So this is going to be the darkest value in here. And right as it's about over the lips, it's getting lighter and lighter. So we're going to make this lighter, and then it's going to progressively get to that dark shape. You see that? So it's darker over here. Looks like the darkness here is about the darkness of that cast shadow. But this area here isn't as quite as dark. But this still has to be a little darker than that section above it. There has to be a little... I want to still be able to see the light, that shape that we were talking about. I'm trying to just shade it enough to keep this other little shape. Okay. Now the top of the lips, again, I gotta work on my technique. This is too, I don't want these hard pencil lines. I want the lips to be soft. So we're going to soften the lips. And then again, looking at the lips, really observing, working on our observation skills. We can see right in the middle of the lips, somewhere around this area to the right, it's darker. So I'm just going to take my pencil and ever so slightly add a little bit of lead here, or charcoal, and kind of darken that side. I'm trying not to draw a line. I'm trying to make the charcoal itself be my line. Create this value. Okay. And comparing values. Remember, we always compare things. So let's compare this darkness of the lip to this darkness over here. Well, the lip, I'm saying, is going to be a little darker. So that's why I have this. This looks a little darker than this. Okay. This right here, make sure this stays light. And then not quite as dark as we have it. All right. Hopefully that's looking okay. Oh. Drop my eraser. All right. So this on the picture looks, this is all pretty white, but if I look really, really carefully, very, very carefully, it looks like there's a little bit of separation here. It looks like it goes dark, light as it comes down, and then as it starts to come back up again up below the cheek, it gets light again. So I'm going to kind of just put a little bit of value in here just to indicate that plane change. Okay. So sometimes when I'm trying to look at lights and darks, if I can't spot where it's dark, I'll try and do the opposite. I'll look, where is it light? And by seeing where the light is, I'll go, oh, okay, there's the light. So that means the dark is, you know, over is everything else. Okay. Just working on the little filtrum area a little bit. I think proportionately it looks like it's so far not too bad. Again, I might end up seeing something, you know, as we continue on. But for right now, I'm actually I'm having fun with this one. Hopefully it's looking okay on the camera there. All right. So I'm looking at this shadow shape over here. I could see on the side of the mouth here, it kind of drops, you know, if we look at this part here and below the lip, it comes out, kind of meets, creates a little light area by the lip right there, and then drops down at this kind of angle to the bottom of the chin. Right? You see that? And then it comes up here, and then right around here it looks like it almost kind of goes up, straight up, kind of where we have it here on the cheek. So this is all side plane. Looks like it gets a little bit lighter over here on this end, so I'm not going to necessarily shade there. Let's just blend this all in. As one value. So I'm trying to think in terms of, like I said, of shape, and just keep this all basically a defined shape and value. A little lighter over here, mostly darker here. Okay. Might have to knock this down just a little bit here. Make sure that's all soft. All right. So back to the lips. I'm seeing that this side up in here is a highlight. There's a lighter plane up in here. Actually, I'm just going to erase almost this whole part, because if I'm looking at the shadow, there's a shadow on this right hand side, comes down, and of course this is all in light. But then the middle's a little dark. The highlight is going to be in here. Knock it back down a little bit. Still want to make sure this highlight stays. This can't be so dark. Because this has to be the darker part of the bottom of the lips. Over in this area. Okay. Now I'm not sure, I'm not sure if the lips are quite full enough. Might need to bring this down just a little bit more. See, I'm just constantly trying to do these little adjustments. Just trying to make the lips a little bit fuller than I had them. And it's obviously a little bit darker underneath, right in here. And then it casts that shadow out, how we were talking about. So you see how my brain's working? How we're trying to just take it little by little? Looks like here is going to be all white. As this kind of comes up to here. Let me pull out a little bit so we can start seeing how it's coming together. All right. I think I just need to clean up the eyebrows a little bit. You know that actress is, what's her name? Something Weiss. It kind of looks like that. The girl who played in The Mummy. God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. But that's who I'm seeing when I'm looking at this picture that I'm ending up with here. Rachel Weisz, that's her name. Alright, so maybe we'll start to add some of the hair in. I just noticed I didn't really factor in the ear yet. The ear is probably going to be somewhere over here if I'm guessing. And it kind of comes up a little bit, and we kind of lose it into the hair. But I'll just leave that there as a sort of a mark. Okay. Now the hair, just using my soft vine charcoal here to kind of get an overall shape. So the hair's doing this motion. Coming down. Okay, this kind of comes out, down, out. Trying to be real specific to the details here. But again, I'm trying not to get my left brain in so much. I don't want to think too much about it, because your left brain is going to start trying to take over and be the boss. It's not necessarily what we want. So this is all going to be dark in here, somewhere over here, comes down. Okay, the hair is going to come out this way. From here. Okay, so I'm just sketching little, almost like just how I feel that the hair is going to go. Okay, there's where we said the ear was going to be. And it looks like the hair is just going to kind of come over the ear. And it's really dark as it comes around the face, down into this area. Kind of looks like the picture kind of ends, so kind of looks like it just is going to fall behind the shoulders, a little bit on top of the shoulders like that. And then of course we have this part of the shirt which comes down. I don't know if I'm going to draw the necklace in there. Not sure that's horribly important. But again, the shadow looks like it comes down and then it comes out this direction. Again, I'm trying not to think so much. Let me just right brain take over here. Just I'm seeing it. Dark, light, dark. See that? Dark, light, dark. And it goes into here. There's a white here. Then it's a little dark here. I see up in here where the clavicle is, it's dark. This is all dark. Now let me just, I don't want to lose the face line, so I'm just going to lightly keep a line in here. But this is all going to be dark up in here. Okay. Use my finger to kind of blend it in. And this way it just gives me little placeholders of everything. Alright, so this is all the hair value. Okay. Alright, I think it's looking Not too shabby. Right? Not too shabby. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so not too bad. I think maybe we'll start adding a little bit more details now to the hair. So I'm looking at I'm just trying to look at the darker areas of the hair. Not necessarily copying anything per se, but just getting the overall shape and flow down. See right as it's coming down about the eyebrow area is when this part comes out. So it's got this shadow shape. You see that, where this is all going to be darker in here. There's a little bit of the hairs down this way. So just by drawing these darker spots, we're hoping that it kind of gives it the hair some flowy shape to it, so we can kind of see the direction of everything. Trying to be fairly loose with this, and the more we kind of go over this stuff, the more volume it's going to give to the hair. Looks like this part of the hair is going to be a little bit lighter than up top, where this is all kind of going to be darker. Okay, take a break and be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back, and so I think where we left off, it's been a couple days, I think, since I last worked on this drawing. I've been doing some editing and stuff for my last video. But I think I got about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. So I want to see if I can get most of this done. And we're almost done. I know it's not an exact match. I think I have her head a little bit different, at a different tilt than the reference picture. But that being said, sometimes when you're drawing, you just have a certain feeling. How did the drawing feel to you when you were doing it? And I actually have had a really good feeling for this entire drawing. I didn't feel like I was struggling as much as I have with other drawings in the past. So I'm going to count that as a success already, just by how it's turned out. So I'm just using my soft charcoal and putting in a value here for her shirt, kind of just blending it in with the hair, because we're going to use an eraser anyway to bring out highlights in the hair. So I don't mind that this all kind of gets lost over on this side. And then let's see, what kind of pencil do I want to use here? Maybe the 6B. You know what, let me, since we're working on shading, I know on this side of the hair, if you could see in the picture, this is the shadow side. So I want to just kind of shade in this whole section here too, because this is sort of the shape of the hair as I see it, roughly. So I want this side to be darker than this side. And the soft charcoal isn't a straight dark black. It's very like a dull black, and it's gonna look really nice this way, I think. All right. So again, gonna put in where I'm seeing darker areas of the hair. Okay. And now what I want to do is sort of pull out some of the hair highlights. If we do this correctly, it's going to really stand out. Now actually, before I do that, I keep jumping all over the place. I want to say this is a little too messy up here. So I want to just knock back this darkness on the forehead. I think the forehead was looking a little too small because of the shading. So I'm just going to kind of raise the forehead a little bit using my kneaded eraser. fix all that. So, Operation Raise Forehead done. Okay, so now, because I put in soft charcoal up here, let me see how this looks. This should really bring out some of the highlights. Yeah, look at that. So watch, this is really going to give the hair some volume. So just little marks, trying to indicate the curls in the hair, highlights. I don't want to overdo it, but I do want to convey that there's some volume to the hair, and I think it's slowly getting there. Now it's really dark again over here, so we want this to be pretty dark. That's what's with this charcoal is so soft. I literally can just take a finger and smudge it. It's the only reason why I don't like using this soft charcoal for a majority of the picture, because I don't want my picture to be so sensitive that you barely touch it and it smears. I'd rather use charcoal pencils or compressed charcoal. Okay. Oh. I'm just noticing when I was looking at some of my edited footage, I think I needed to darken this stuff a little bit over here. It's not quite as dark as the eyebrows, so you need to knock it back a little bit. And also, pretty sure this needs to be adjusted here. Okay. Those are all little touch-up things. I think I'm getting too little hyper-focused here. And those are all things that really I should be focusing on when I do my little final touches with like time-lapse stuff. So I'm not going to try, I'm just going to try and rein in my inattentiveness and get back on track here. Try and still work a little more on the hair. I'm not trying to draw every single line of hair. I'm just trying to give it sort of just an overall shape and form and flow, alternating with some of these dark lines and then the highlights. That way it gives your brain gives an illusion of hair without having to draw every single thing. All right. Trying to look at this ear. Just see where the hair is going. It kind of comes down over the ear and then around the ear. It's pretty dark because that's the furthest part. It's further back. It's away from the light. So I know we can be pretty dark with that. Likewise, right down to here, it's pretty dark. Right. So I need to start working on the neck. I need to start working a little bit on the clothing. So I know on the neck up in here, this is going to all be in shadow. The chest is really, really white. So I'm not even going to put anything over here. I want to just look at this shape right by the neck. It's this little separation right in here where this kind of comes down, and then we know it's going to get dark over here for the clavicle. It's a dark area that's going to be up in here. It's the darkest back in this area. So I'm just using my finger, kind of dulling it down, rubbing it into the rest of the drawing. Trying to look at these shapes. Oops. All right. I think for the clothing, I'll just sort of outline it. I'm not going to worry about her necklace. It's not really important to the drawing. So I'm seeing the gets light in here, comes down, it's light up in here. Light up in here. Now again, trying to look at values, this isn't as dark as this in the picture, but it is right now on here, so I need to knock this down with the eraser. Just lightly go over it. I'm not pressing super hard, but I'm just going back and forth until it gets lighter. And it has to be lighter than the chin. Right now I have the chin and this now almost about the same. So I either need to make the chin darker, or I need to make this lighter. So I'm going to keep going lighter on this. So I'm constantly comparing two values whenever I'm doing something. The chin has to be darker than this, so this has to be lighter. Right. Alright, so I'm kind of not sure what I'm getting myself into here. I'm actually getting a little quiet, and I'm aware that I'm quiet right now, so I do apologize for that. Because I'm at the stage where I'm starting to, I have to really focus. I'm liking the hair so far. I think it's starting to slowly translate as being hair. I keep trying to step back or look back at the picture as a whole so I can see what I might be missing, what I'm not seeing. Like I said, it's very different when I'm filming. When you're filming, it adds a whole other dynamic to the drawing. Oh. I'm gonna have to go get my kids from school pretty soon. My life is controlled by alarms. All right. Kind of tough for me to see how it's looking for you guys. Again, when I edit these videos and then I like watch them back as I'm on my computer, I notice a lot more, which is why oftentimes I come back from a break and then I start working on something that I might not have left off on. It's because when I was editing, I'm able to see certain things that I didn't quite notice before. I think this needs to be a little softer. This needs to be a little softer. Sometimes when you got to make something soft, you just lightly erase where the line meets whatever you're trying to soften, and it'll soften it up. All right, I think we, let me see, just add a few little things over here. I think we need to add some darkness, some lines to the clothing maybe. This is just not super important, but it's something that can give the clothing more realism. Back it up just a little bit. So I'm just picking certain areas, certain patterns of the clothes that I'm seeing darkness on, and making these sort of lines. And that'll end up giving some volume to the clothes. And hopefully it'll read to the viewer like there's some definition, folds and creases and stuff. So I'm pushing it back down with my blending stump. Add a little, maybe just a little collar to the shirt. Just little details like that, nothing that's gonna take your, you know, I'm not directing your attention to this per se. It's just something that subconsciously your brain will see and add a little bit to the realism. Okay. And now whenever I draw these little dark lines on the shirt, I always use an eraser to one side, whatever side the light's facing on. I'll use my eraser and make these little wrinkle marks. So I'll go like this, just to the, since the light is on the left, I'm going to do this to the left of everything. And it's going to give the impression that the shirt has these little folds in them. Hopefully that's going to look that way. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. Alright, so I want to lighten a little bit this over here. All right. Not sure how it's looking yet. But what are we at? I'm going to have about 20 more minutes. So I'll tell you what. We're just about done. I think my alarm's about to go off here. If I'm not mistaken. There it goes. So what I'm going to do is, since we've already drawn basically everything, I want to sit back and not feel rushed. I'm going to look at this and do some time lapse so we can finish this up. So enjoy the rest of this as I time lapse it out. And if I don't come back, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions, please leave me a comment below. And with that being said, let's finish this drawing out.